Hey guys, welcome back to Genshin Interact. In today's video, we simply just wanted to talk about the upcoming possible changes with the Chronicled Wish banner. A lot of people have been talking about, the next upcoming Chronicled Wish banner. Could that be in 4.6, the next patch, or would it be later down the line? What are the characters that are going to be on it? There's a lot of questions kind of revolving the whole thing. So all we know right now is that it will be available from time to time. That is what they said in the Chronicled Wish frequently asked questions on HoYoLab. So we don't really know specifically if it's going to be next patch or just way later. But assuming it would be in 4.6, we did kind of want to just talk about, obviously, probably being Liyue characters. Since this Chronicled Wish banner, we see a lot of the Mondstadt characters, and so it's kind of the quote regional banner moving forward. So we're going to kind of give our thoughts and what we think could possibly be on the Liyue-themed Chronicled Wish banner. So starting things right off, we kind of have our list here, and we're going to kind of rank these Liyue 5-star characters and give you kind of what most likely be there, possibly be there, like they fall in the criteria, and then ones we don't think will be there, and then also just the ones that can't be there based on the rules that they have given us, they being Genshin Impact themselves, for when these characters can actually be on Chronicled Wish. So starting right off, Vixen, we have Ganyu. So what are our thoughts on Ganyu being on the next banner?
Well, actually, I'm looking through the banner history right now, and it's taking me a hot minute to just go down through and actually even find where she is. There she is. She's in 3.6 for the banner history. That was her last banner, I believe.
Wow.
Second half of 3.6. And she went alongside of Baiju, which as well as another character that's actually in this specific
That's true.
thing as well. So keeping those two things in mind, personally, I would probably put her in a possibly or most likely scenario. I know that she is a very anticipated, like a very high used character. A lot of people really like her. And so a lot of people are going to think, oh, well, she's not good for the Chronicled Wish banner, But people need to remember that she had, the whole point of the Chronicled Wish is not, oh, this is a good character, so it's not going to be in the Chronicled Wish. The only criteria to be for a character to be in the Chronicled Wish is for them to have run 3 times. So the first time and then 2 reruns. And because of that, the only necessary need that you really have to have is that one criteria. So it doesn't matter if Kazuha has run 72 times and he's a goated character. It just matters, if he's already run 3 times. So it's the same thing here with Ganyu. Personally, I would probably place her in one of the 2 higher areas. I would honestly probably put her in the most likely scenario. That's just me. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts, I kind of, I can agree with that, especially because Ganyu has had 3 banners, and that being one of the criteria to even be on this Chronicled Wish. Ganyu really is looking like a good pick for it. It's been a hot minute, like you're saying, since we actually did have her last banner, and she has had 3. So I definitely do agree with you that she could very, very well be on that banner. So I think that one's pretty much set in stone. I think that's a good placement for her. But next we have Hu Tao. Where do we think Hu Tao could be?
I don't know. Hu Tao's an interesting one because she was pretty recent, if I do remember, somewhat.
I think she was with Nervalette. Yeah, 4.1 with
right,
Nervalette.
So she's the first half of 4.1. Now, here's the issue with Hu Tao. Personally, okay, because the other criteria, if you go over to HoYoLab as well, is that they can't have rerun recently. So if they haven't had right here any recent event wishes that will, appear in the Chronicle, they won't be in the Chronicled Wish. Now, I don't know what recent is, and I think neither does Genshin necessarily.
Right, exactly.
I think at the end of the day, it is 4.5. It's only been 3 banners ago. Personally, I think that's just a little bit too close for the time frame for her to be here. I think the Fontaine era is probably, and that can knock off Zhongli and Yelan, who we'll talk about at the end. But personally, I see Hu Tao being a possibly scenario. Yeah, right there, because, she'll be good, but I don't know what recent is, and so I'm kind of keeping my eyes open.
Exactly. We don't know the time frame for that. Yeah, I totally agree. I think that's a good placement for her because she's definitely had a lot of banners. She's a pretty early character, so, but not most likely. Yeah, I totally agree with you on that one. So I think that's a good placement for her. Next we have Ketching, and maybe we can even lob in Chi-Chi just because they're both standard 5 stars. So I'm just because they are standards, I have a very good feeling that both of them are going to be
slapped
there
up there.
because they're the only standards. They have to be there, right? I mean, with the Mondstadt, we had Diluc, Jean, and Mona. Like, there have to be some standards, or maybe are they going to throw up if their thinking is like it has to be 3 standards and 3 limited characters, because that's what we see here with, you know, Mona, Diluc, Jean, and then Eulicli, Albedo. It's 3 and 3. Well, what happens here if it has to be 4 and 2 if it's all Liyue characters, right? So if that's the case, they have to be there, because they're not just going to give us 6 limited characters, right? That's too generous of miHoYo, right? That Genshin can never.
Yeah, personally, I see Catching and Chi-Chi being on there. Like you said, very good reasoning there. I don't see how they wouldn't. You've got to almost have that, you know, that fact of like, you're gonna, like, it's almost like, oh yeah, I got a 5-star and I didn't quote unquote lose by not getting, but you lost because you got your C47 Chi-Chi, so.
Yes, sir. We love to see those Chi-Chis. So I think that is the one scary part about this Liyue Chronicled Wish, is that you will lose to Chi-Chi, and it's like, really? There's nothing extra special about that. But, you know, logically speaking, those 2 have to be up there just because, like we were saying, the 4-to-2 ratio. So regardless of that, I mean, having 4 limited characters, you have a pretty good chance of losing on this. Say you lose and getting one of those other 3. Like, I think the odds are pretty good there, so. Anyways, moving on to Shenhe. What do you think, Vixen?
I mean, if it was up to me, I'd want Shenhe rerunning every single banner, but I think it's been a hot minute since she's had a banner, so the recency bias,
right,
or whatever you would want to call that, it's been actually a very hot minute, if I do remember. A lot of people thinking
I think the last time was
yeah, I think a lot of people were hoping that she was going to be
3.5.
I think people wanted her to actually be rerun recently, especially alongside of some recent characters. And so there was a little bit of an annoyance whenever Ayaka came and what's her name and Shenhe didn't. And I know as well some people were talking about, you know, her in place of Yoimiya, and then when she didn't come in 4.4, then people were like, okay, what is going on? There was just a lot of stuff. So,
yeah, I think people wanted her with Navia, because Ayaka came with Navia, and so I was like, well, why isn't Shenhe here, or at least in the second half? Yeah, just like you're saying.
Yeah.
So it's been a hot minute, and I think that automatically makes her a very good candidate, because she has had 3 banners, right?
She has had 3 banners.
Or has she only had 2?
She has had 3. Now, I can double check. So we have the 3.5, which is the last...
Yeah, we have 3.5.
And then the actual time that she came out...
I'm just scrolling slowly downwards, going back in time.
Yep, same here. Okay, so she was out here in 2.4, alongside of Zhao. So, so she's had Zhao. That was her last banner. She's only had 2. So she cannot be...
So, because 2.4 was her release.
2.4 was her release with Zhao.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, Shenhe cannot be on here. It's just not possible.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting.
As much as we'd like to see it.
I kind of do like that,
know,
because that's the whole point about the Chronicled Wish that I think some people are overlooking, is that a lot of these newer characters, right? And the people we always talk about, okay, well, what happens, you know, for instance, does this mean that Ganyu, who we already have at the top bar, does that mean Ganyu, and if, for instance, we throw Child in there as well, are these both characters not going to be on any future banner? You know, that's kind of throws a wrench in some of my, you know, my problems, blah, blah, XYZ. There's a lot of things that could be going on, you know, what is going on here, and, you know, am I ever going to see this character again? But they're going to be coming back on the Chronicled Wish. But they're not probably going to get these event-specific, just banners by themselves, which is going to help a lot of new characters get their reruns and make a lot of reruns for these new characters quicker, instead of having this huge plethora of characters that are on a backlog for 47 years.
Like we may see Shenhe right after.
Because we don't have to wait for Eula to come out every, summer, or possibly even longer. I mean, I think she was the character that has held the longest time between 2 of her banners. So I think that's their current fix. I don't think it's a great one, but, you know, it's working for right now, so.
She's the Eula for the Liyue lineup.
Yeah, so.
In the sense that she's only had 2 banners. That's still crazy to me. Wow. That's just crazy. I really thought she had 3.
Well, Child is up next, and talking about Child, and actually how there's actually a lot of characters I actually want to talk about here in this succession order, because both Child, Yelan, and Zhongli also came out in 4.0 with Linny. Now, this was a lot of a big time kind of push for these characters. Now, I'm not sure about Yelan, but I know for sure that Zhongli and Child have had 3 or more banners. And
Oh yeah, Child and Zhongli are probably good candidates. The point would be, okay, what about Zhongli, because he's an
So
Archon?
let's just
That's
stick.
a question on
Yeah,
its
so
own.
let's just stick with Child first and foremost. I would probably put him
Mm-hmm.
on the line for high ability for a rerun. Now it is still in the Fontaine era, and for him getting thrown into this, but I would probably say that he's probably very high on getting thrown onto this specific banner, if not possibly for that scenario. But at least for the rest of the sake, for the other characters that could be used here, Zhongli is another character, like you said, with Archon. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on maybe an
Mm-hmm.
Archon?
I don't know. I really can't see MiHoYo putting Archons on the Chronicled Wish. I feel like it's just, in their line of thinking, wouldn't be smart as a marketing move. Like, I don't know. It just feels like too easy.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, for instance, they didn't throw Venti. I think Venti's had a hot minute since he's been on the banner. No, or am I? Yeah, it was 4.1.
He was with Risley
Yeah,
in 4.1. So it's been a
you know,
it's been a
he
minute.
hasn't had one in a hot minute either, and he's an Archon, and you know, a lot of Archons get rerun consistently. So there's my thought is, okay, so then why hasn't, why was he not on the Chronicled Wish for 4.5? So personally, I don't think Archons are even going to come close to touching the Chronicled Wish banner, which is totally fair. So I don't think Zhongli, I think he's almost on the not possible list, like personally.
Just, yeah, more like a don't think
And then
so.
Child, though, I would put on the most
'Cause it could
likely
happen.
scenario because it's just been a hot
Yes.
minute. He came out with that, but if we could skip the other three for right now, just because we saw this, Yelan also came out with these two characters. So what do you think about that?
Well, we know Yelan, her initial release, I believe, was in 2.6. That's when we had the Chasm event. Or no, right after 2.6. I guess it was 2.7. Yeah, right here. We had Ito with Zhao and Yelan. And that's also when Kuki was the new 4-star. So that being her release, the second banner she had, I think it had been a hot minute. I'm just gonna go forward in time. So she was in 3.4 with Hu Tao. That's right. That was a goated banner, by the way. So she's had 3 reruns because we also had her in 4.0 with Linny. So she's possible. Like, she's a possible candidate. She's had 3 runs, so she could appear. With 4.0 being the last time she was on a banner, I think she becomes a very likely candidate. She's had 3 banners. It's been since 4.0, so I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. I'm kind of thinking about this because I'm wondering if we put Child and Yelan on the probably or the possibly sense of the tier, only because I don't know. It doesn't seem like a most likely. It's more of a here are the facts to back it up. And honestly, my biggest thing is recency, right? Like, what does MiHoYo constitute as recent banners? Is it the past
Like,
two? Is it just the past version? Is it that short, or is it like it's been 4 versions, or does it change with each character? You know, depending on how they are,
Right.
you know, how well their banners did.
Yeah, that's the biggest like thing that's like affecting the possibility of the the lineups. So I agree with you on that. So maybe both just put possibly, because that still means it's possible, but it just doesn't mean like, yeah, we definitely think this is gonna happen, because this is also kind of mixing in our personal opinion.
Right.
So I don't know. It's possible. I feel if we had an in between, I want to push him like right in between these,
Yeah.
But I guess let's figure out these 3 characters, and maybe that would kind of help, because there have to be
Right.
6.
Well,
obviously, there have to be 6. If we only have 5 up
Well, there's
here,
the thing, because the
something
next
wrong.
2 characters before Zhao haven't even had enough banners to actually be put on the Chronicled Wish banner.
they're not possible. So we can already rule that
As much
out.
as I would like to see Baiju
Which
a little
means-
bit more frequently, but I think he'll come along with
Which is
regular
true,
banners
yeah.
once again. You know, just he'll have his own banner, especially with his weapon, and you know his weapon's not that great, but you know I think that'll be fun for most people.
for sure. So having eliminated those 2,
Zhao's a high possibility, personally.
I just my gut's telling me, yeah, he should be up here, because he's a very, very early character along with Hu Tao.
Here's the problem.
So he's definitely had 3 banners before.
Here's the issue. We can't really throw him in there at all. I would like to throw him in there because he's one of my favorite characters. I would throw him down.
That's true,
don't
because
think so.
Yaimiko, the Zhao Yaimiko.
Right. I would throw him actually
Oh,
and
man.
don't think so. Just because of how he was literally like a version, 2
Yeah.
versions ago. So by
That's
the time
true,
that
that's
this
true. I
next
forgot about
Chronicled
that.
Wish will come out. If it comes out, we have no clue when. The Hoyolab just says from time to time. So I have no clue if this Liyue banner is going to be here soon, but there's been plenty of thoughts on it. But I don't know. Maybe the top 6 that we have already kind of put in place is our
Maybe
3,
it is
you know?
these 6 right here. Maybe it is Child, Yelan, and Hu Tao with these 3, because that would be the full 6.
Right.
Because we already know these 3 can't be there. I really, yeah, like you're saying, he just had a rerun, and he's an Archon. So maybe, the guys, this could be it right here.
It's an interesting one for sure. I think a lot of people are going to be happy about it.
I mean,
though.
again,
I
you
don't
know,
think it's necessarily going to be bad.
Oh, for sure. I mean, Yelan, goated character to have. Amazing S tier support unit. We got a cryo DPS, a pyro DPS, and a hydro DPS. It's a kind of, and I mean, catching's a good electro DPS at that. This is honestly a very balanced roster to have.
And the reason it makes it balanced
So-
is because Chi-Chi by herself is on the bad side, so it perfectly weighs 5 good characters and then
if you
one
lose
Chi-Chi.
to anything but Chi-Chi.
Yeah, like that's the
Yeah,
thing,
you're
right? It's
winning.
like, and you know, even jokingly, like, even if you have catching, you know, I know a lot of people use her for hyper bloom teams and whatnot, so getting catching isn't necessarily that bad. But I mean, if you're going for Hu Tao and you drop Yelan, and you go for Hu Tao again and get Hu Tao, I mean, is that really a loss?
Go
you know
to
what
team.
I mean? I mean,
Yeah, you just got her best
Right.
teammate in a good
and if you already have
DPS for it.
Xingqiu, I know Xingqiu's one of
So-
another great character to have as a support. I mean, you've already got 3
Oh, for
characters that are
sure.
goated, so.
Yeah, I think this is it, guys. Like, this is our speculation, okay? Keyword speculation of what the Liyue Chronicled Banner Wish will look like. That's if it even drops in 4.6, because we don't even know, like, from time to time, you know, once again, going back to, okay, they're talking about, like, next week, or are they talking about, like, next year? So, this looks promising. I'm pretty happy with that, and I feel like this is set in stone. So,
Well, I think that's everything we really had. We do hope that you guys do enjoy this video. Please go ahead and like and subscribe, and thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.